Good Monday morning, East Tennessee. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's a federal holiday. Banks are closed. Of course, the post office is closed, but it's probably closed for other reasons today because of some snow. I'm looking at my David Aldrich weather group, kind of like a spotter web page, Facebook page. I got a little note here from Joyce Anderson in Hickory Valley. A big shout out to Joyce. Thank you for doing that, Joyce. She put a little ruler. She's got about an inch at 4:30 this morning outside of there in Maynardville. So if you're in Maynardville, you have about an inch. Joyce Anderson, thank you for sharing that picture with me. And if you have any pictures you want to share, I'd love to see them on the David Aldrich Weather Group. Let's get to all the other nuts and bolts to talk about today, because the snow may have slowed down in spots. As you can see from the Ultimate Doppler radar, the snow has slowed down in some spots, and you might be thinking, oh, this must have been a bust. No, that's just the end of the appetizer. The main course, the main event, the main course is still yet to come, and that should start to unfold after 9 o'clock this morning. But the Ultimate Doppler radar, presented by Madlock Tire Service and Auto Repair, been around since 1953. A great set of tires starts with Madlock this winter. Make sure you check them out at a location near you. We'll talk more about my sponsor coming up. But some of the snow is still lingering. There's still some light snow showers and flurries. This is an overview over the last 30 minutes. So if you're on the call, would love to say hi to you. Love to say hi to you because you might have a very interesting or similar report as Joyce Anderson does there in Maynardville. A big shout out to her. So I know a lot of us have had some snow. It was just a little appetizer to get us started. Now, if you've been reading my forecasts, we'll now note that the National Weather Service is now calling for 4 to 8. They didn't call for 4 to 8 a couple of days ago, but they are now calling 4 to 8 inches, just to throw that out there. But I want to say good morning to you. Where are we? Fred says good morning. Not much in Maryville yet. Okay, good to note. Thank you, Fred. And Tim says he had 1 inch of snow last night in 10 Mile in Meigs County. Thank you, Tim. And Michael Norman, anytime he says I think about measuring snow, I just think about the fact that it's cold and I stay inside. I love that. Thank you very much, Michael. Michael's got a good sense of humor. But maybe you have an inch of snow like up in Maynardville. Most of the snow, again, has been breaking up. You can see more pink on this map. That's referring to the winter storm warnings. We're going to get into that here in just a moment. Temperatures right now are cold. It's 28 degrees. I don't think we'll get much higher than 33 today. That means that if we get above freezing, not everybody will, but if we get above freezing at 33 degrees, it won't be for long. It is 17 in Jamestown. I do not expect you to get above 33 today or even hit 32 in Jamestown. It'll be colder there. You can see some of those blue arrows coming down into Fentress County. Crossville, Cumberland County is 21. That's cold. We'll get into the wind chills here in a moment. But just to cut to the chase, just to let you know, did I change my tune or expectation? No, but I will double down on the mixing. You see that where it says some freezing rain and sleet? Maybe an emphasis on sleet as we head later into the afternoon and evening. There could be some mixing, and that could cut down on the totals. Would it cut down into the 4 to 8? Well, would it cut down into 4 to 8? No, I don't think it will. In all areas. It could be worse if we had anywhere from 9 or maybe 9/10 or an inch of liquid to work with. We'd be looking at 10 inches. But this sleet potential mixing in may catch some people off guard. I hope it doesn't. It's even on the second line of the banner. Snow forecast with some mixing possible. And when I say mixing, I'm talking about those icy pellets that are known as sleet and some freezing rain. We're going to get more into that here in just a moment. So I know some of you are going to have locally higher amounts, but this is how the Weather Service has adjusted. The Weather Service in Morristown has gone 4 to 8 now for Knoxville, heart of the valley. They're expecting 3 to 6 from the Nashville office that covers Cumberland and Fentress County. That runs until 6 o'clock Tuesday. 3 to 6 inches of snow is their wording, with 8 inches possible, especially south of Interstate 40. So if the National Weather Service in Nashville thinks it's mainly south, that's where they think it is. Of course, Jackson, maybe for higher terrain. I can't rule it out, but they're going 5 to 8 up there in parts of maybe Lee County, Virginia, but mainly Harlan County, Bell County, and perhaps even into Knox County, Kentucky. Now, when we talk about a precipitation change to a mix, I'm talking probably more sleet now and less freezing rain, but even still, it just takes a little bit of warmth, just a little bit of warmth to change the landscape, right? So you talk about the fact that you get a wedge of warm air that comes into play and it messes up the whole work, so to speak, right? So you're talking about rain on the left. That's where it's warm all through the column of air. Freezing rain is where it freezes on contact. But when you get these little icy pellets and you're not sure what's falling from the sky, well, I can guarantee you it's not pleasant. It's not a pretty picture if you get that little mix coming down the sleet. And I think most of us have enjoyed so far some snow. But it's all going to come together during the main course today. Snow may look like this from the side view. Snow remains snow from top to bottom. It's a freezing layer extensive. That's what many of us will experience. But what happens when you throw in some of those ice pellets? Well, that little wedge, a little touch of it doesn't take much, around anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 feet. Suddenly it starts to change its composition, and if you'll notice closely, there are little ice pellets starting to hit the ground, and that's no fun. Freezing rain, of course, is where the warm air is much. I'd say it's a area that's more warmth coming across the column of air. So the snow melts to rain in the warm layer above the surface, and then it freezes upon contact if that were to play out. So we'll be keeping an eye on this. The rain, freezing rain, sleet, they're all, at least the snow and sleet, I think, are certainly on the table. I want to bring you up to speed if you haven't considered a winter supply checklist. Here it is. Some good things to think about. I know you could add to it, and this is just to get you started. Having some batteries, blankets, water if you're going to have to be on the roads. It's not going to be wise to be on the roads later today. I'll explain why. But the winter emergency kit might help if you have a flashlight, a phone charger, even some cat litter, kitty litter, just to get some traction. Not that you're taking your cat with you. Hopefully the cat stays home. But this is where things might be helpful if you are considering a winter emergency kit, because we've got a lot of winter still ahead of us. It's not just today, but today is going to be pretty interesting. By the way, I did some checking. 1.6 inches of snow. That fell the day after Christmas. We did break the 385, actually turned out to be 384 days, because last night McGee Tyson officially got 0.3. So far, we're at 0.3 inches, 0.3 inches, a third of an inch as of midnight. And we probably maybe add maybe a little bit more than that since midnight. But it was 6.5 inches of snow on March the 12th. How many of you remember that was spring break? I believe spring break of 2022. March 12th, 2022, we had 6.5 inches of snow. So if you're on the call, Ed says, all right, you had your snow, bring on spring. I think Ed's tired of this. Avery Sexton says, just shy of 2 3/4 inches in Oneida as of 6 a.m. Thank you, Avery, for that update. Kevin, you're sending me some stars. You're very kind. He says, I can't wait for the main event. Team Snow, it's coming. Danny says, go. Good morning, David. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And he says, go Vols. Carla Jackson, she's got 1.5 inches here in Piedmont. Mary Morgan, good morning, David. And, it's kind of like we're going to get a second helping. If it's an appetizer, main course, if you like the idea, I think maybe the second helping could be what comes in later this week on Thursday night, Friday, when we get a rain-snow combination. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to go a little long today because it's a holiday, and there are kids not going to school for that very reason. And, of course, probably a lot of folks not wanting to be on the roads. But if you want to consider an emergency kit, those are some of the things you might want to add. Always check your forecast from the Captain Accurate weather app prior to travel. That's a good idea. Fill your gas tank and check your tire pressure. Oh, I hate to do that, but sometimes you have to do that. And please let someone else know your route or arrival time. Pack an emergency supply kit. Avoid travel if not comfortable. And if stranded, remain in your vehicle. Just some safety tips if you have to drive. We're not advising that. Now, pavement temperatures. We know it's going to get brutally cold in the coming days, but the pavement temperature tells a story too. When you see some of that area there, it's almost like a light blue. That's when it starts to get into the teens. Take you into Tuesday. Now we're in about 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, about 16, 19. That's the road temperature estimated by modeling. By midday, it might warm up into the 30s. So a lot of the question is this going to stick on the roads when the pavement temperature is cold enough? Sure, it sure will. But by this point, the snow has already fallen, 5 o'clock Tuesday. But when you wake up on Wednesday morning, ouch, ouchie, ouch. It's only like single digits. And I think we're probably closer to zero on Wednesday morning. Given the snow cover, the snowpack is going to work against you if you're not a fan of the cold. So you better turn on the virtual fireplace because we're going to be really needing it as we head into Wednesday morning. Again, pavement temperatures by the modeling brings us down about 7 on the pavement on Wednesday morning. Then it may warm up as we head further down the road. As far as driving in sleet, I want to show you what this looks like and how you might want to navigate. As I say, stay home if you can. Reduce your speed. Avoid driving if at all possible. Avoid sudden stops. And if you're sliding, turn the wheels in the same direction. You might start fishtailing. I mean, you start, some people aren't very attuned to driving in snow and sleet, so just stay home. It's probably a good idea. But again, avoid hills and steep inclines. And if you're driving in sleet, it may very well look like it's little bouncing balls, little icy pellets. Now, if you're more in the snow variety, As we heard Avery, he has some snow to show, and so does Carla. Accelerate and decelerate slowly. That's a key. Reduce speed. These are just tips. They're sometimes common sense, but then again, common sense isn't so common anymore, is it? But power up. Don't power up the hills. Don't just, put all your foot to the pedal. And don't stop when you're going up a hill. That's also a safety tip when you're in the snow, because it's going to look like this and more as we head through the course of the day. And you're probably aware, but maybe didn't quite know the numbers. I did some homework and also some help with my friends with Barron, but wanted to show you the snow can add another 200 to 270 feet when you're in the snow. And if you're in the ice, your braking distance, your stopping distance, if you're just going 35 miles an hour, can go 320 to 425 feet. That's an extra, you need extra stopping distance when you're in the snow and ice. It's just you do. And that could also add, in terms of seconds, it can add 5 to 8, actually 5 to 14 extra seconds to your braking time. And then you, I can't stop. So please, if I can drive home the point, grab an emergency kit if you have to be out. And if you are driving, give yourself even extra more distance between you and your neighbor. Now I want to show you the snow potential on the models from last night. And this is probably why our friends at Weather Service decided to go 4 to 8. And I think there's going to be some mixing here. So you can see like Sevierville shows like 1.6. There might be more mixing in Sevierville. There could be, some of you will say, I got a lot. And then some say, well, then it changed over. So that's all on the table. There's going to be that element. I still stand by my forecast because I don't like to throw darts at my forecast until the event's over. Then I can play Monday morning quarterback, right? Then I can say, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What could I have changed? Because that's how I get better. That's how Captain Accurate gets better. But I can tell you, it looks like the bulk of what's still to come is Knoxville to Maryville to Morristown, and lesser amounts in Oneida. So we'll have to wait and see if that plays out. That's where it seems to be for the main course. The main course, which really starts, I think, around 9 o'clock this morning and beyond. Here's the ultimate Doppler radar again. Couple of snow showers. Obviously, we're not going to see all the flurries, but you will see snow showers in blue where it's getting more steadier. The steadier snow is coming up from Winchester and Soddy Daisy, and it's going to start to slide into this picture here in just a moment. I want to check in with some questions. By the way, I'm on YouTube and Facebook. I haven't popped over to Facebook yet, but let's do that. In fact, if you're on YouTube, I got Marilyn Bell drinking coffee. Are you doing that this early? You could do that. She says staying warm and just watching our captain here on the YouTube. Stay safe. Tyler Strutton, one of my premium members on Facebook, is on YouTube. He says good morning. He's got a report from Morgan County. He measured 2 inches in Lansing. So in Lansing, 2 inches. Thank you, Tyler. That's awesome. Glad to have that report. Back roads are snow covered, and main highways are mostly covered at this hour. Some areas in Wartburg are without power. We'll talk about that. In fact, remind me, I want to show you the power outages here coming up in just a few moments. Go back to Facebook. I got Janet Potts. Good morning from Talbot. My deck and grass are covered and flurries are falling. My dog is not impressed. Oh, wait till Wednesday morning. When we're closer to 0, I'm sure the dog will not be impressed. I'm afraid that my dog will look at that opportunity and say, I'm coming back inside. Because that's just what my dog does. Judy says, well, Severe will get more snow today. Of course. But you also might get more mixing. So Judy brings up a good point. You'll notice that there is going to be some variability. It's just I wanted you to be prepared that we have probably the biggest snow event since March the 12th, 2022, because we had 6.5, right? We had 6.5. And we picked up 0.3, that's a third of an inch, as of midnight. Last I checked, probably another half inch or more. And obviously some of you have more than that. But that was just the appetizer. By the way, the ultimate Doppler radar, presented by Madlock Tire Service and Auto Repair. They've been around since 1953. East Tennessee's #1 tire service and auto repair since 1953. If you've been doing it for over 70 years, you know you're doing something right. They've got locations in Knoxville, in Maryville, Lenoir City, Athens, and yes, they have one in Hart Valley. So check them out. You can get an oil change there too, and all sorts of good things. Tell them Captain Accurate sent you. You might be impressed with the service that you get, as I am every time I go there. By the way, if you're hydroplaning today, well, you need a good set of tires. That's why I say it's always important to stay off the roads when you have winter weather like this, but there are cases where you just can't avoid it. Hydroplaning, you kind of move your tires off the road, you start skidding. The wet roads can cause some real issues, and of course, snow-covered roads can make it even more challenging. LEFs, and what about the icy bridges? Sometimes it's easier to see that when you have air temperatures dropping below freezing, the bridge exposed to the cold above and below start to get colder. So they freeze first, but ice situations, especially on and off ramps. Be extra careful, and when you cross those bridges and overpasses, it can be very, very dicey, and we want to keep you safe, moms and dads. Of course, kids, they just want to sled, perhaps, or play in the snow. There's no harm in that. It will get a lot colder, though, in the days to come. By the way, here's the radar. Do you see what I see? Everybody look at Florence and Huntsville, Alabama. Do you see how dark blue it's turning down there? That's the main course. What's north of Tupelo, around Florence, and just south of Columbia, Tennessee, that's the main course. So things are breaking up right now in Knoxville. I'm not saying it's stopped, but we're just getting ready for the feast. If you're a Team Snow, if you're on Team Snow, you're ready for the feast. And all this is going to be coming over here as we head toward 9 o'clock this morning. So be prepared. It will gradually get worse in terms of conditions. And there's more reinforcements south of Memphis and south of Pine Bluff. And if this were a fire hose, you know how a fireman puts out a fire? You could stand to the right or left of the firefighter, you won't get wet. If you stand behind the firefighter, you don't get wet. But if you stand in front of that hose, boy, you get soaked, right? And I can tell you this, the fire hose is aimed right here for Knoxville. 4 to 8 inches of snow is what I expect we'll find before the end of this event. By the way, the nasty cold weather, we're talking about wind chill warnings. You know it's bad if you have a wind chill, but it's even worse when they have to warn you that the wind chills are unruly. They're just off the chart. And that's what they're experiencing across much of the Midwest. So we've got wind chill warnings, we got winter storm warnings, we got the whole kit and caboodle. And we have that all to talk about here. By the way, it's 7 o'clock. This is my special Monday edition of a snow-filled day that's going to be fun because we're going to do this again around midday. I want to come back around midday. I'm not sure when it will be, but when the snow is really reaching that fever pitch, I think it'd be fun to see more of your pictures, less of my forecast. Just want to see your observations. But we'll do this again before the day is through. Tracking lots of clouds, you can see a lot of it beginning to fill in. And those clouds have been obviously snowing. You can see how the darker blues between Memphis and Tupelo are headed in this direction, and that's what I expect to really crank in after 9 a.m. Temperature right now, 17 in Jamestown, 19 in Oneida, 28 in Knoxville. That is our current temperature, but you want to know maybe how different does it feel? Maybe not that bad as far as the temperature change. Let's see where that is. That's about 6 degrees colder now than it was this time yesterday. And the wind speeds are not going to be that strong. I think they're generally 3 to 8 miles per hour. That's my expectation. Sure, yeah, we're 3. 3 to 8. This is the way it's going to be pretty much the whole day. This isn't like 10 to 20 mile an hour winds blowing and drifting. We're just going to take out the drifting and take out the blowing because there's not a lot of wind. It might still look like it's still coming down with some wind, but 3 to 8 is not that strong, all things considered. And that's where our wind speeds are right now. And the gusts, well, they're pretty much confined to the higher terrain of the Smokies at this particular time. But the wind chill makes 17 in Jamestown feel like 11, feels like 24, even though it's actually 28 in Knoxville, and feels like 15 in Wartburg and Morgan County, where Tyler is after he gave us that 2-inch report of snow in Lansing. Glad to have you all here. Popping back up on here on YouTube. I'm on YouTube too. Tyler and Marilyn's on here. Glad to have you all here. Popping up over on Facebook. We're doing both. John says, I have a lot more snow. The forecast he showed earlier said 4 to 8 and up to 11 in some places. Well, there could be, again, a lot of precip, more. If it changes over to sleet, we're still probably in the sweet spot of 4 to 8 plus. This, again, isn't rocket science. It's meteorology, which is taking, it's not exact science, right? It takes the best of chemistry and physics, the pure sciences, and tries to put it into all one package. So we're doing our best. John, thank you for the note. Janet says, glad, yay, glad you'll be with us all day. Of course. And Wanda says, hope it just snows, no sleet. That's the problem. When you get sleet, you'll know it. And if it happens, say, my estimation is if you're going to get sleet, it'll happen maybe roughly between 6 and 10 this evening. And then you say, oh, it's all gone to sleet, and it starts to chip away at perhaps some of the snow or just gets crunchy and ugly. That's a possibility too. I'm watching all of this unfold. I'm going to show you this on the Futurecast so you'll have a better visualization of what that looks like. Visibility not that bad, 5 and 9 miles an hour. That's more associated with the clouds and the snow. Temperatures around the state, there are 10 in Jackson, 13 in Nashville, and 11 in Memphis. So that's where we are at this point. It is 7:03 in the morning. We're about 2 hours away from the main course before things get a little more dicey. Sunrise, sunset, we've got 7:45. Sun is up, but you probably won't see it because it's cold and it's cloudy and it's snowing. And the sun will be going down at 5:45. And by that point, I'm convinced many of us will have had some sleet in the Knoxville area before 5:45, 6 o'clock this evening. It's just a possibility. Just be prepared. It will change from hour to hour, from town to town. If you're heading out the door this morning, I don't know how many of you have green grass, because it's probably all covered with snow now, but temperatures should rise to about 32 degrees by 3 o'clock. I expect an afternoon high of 33 at Knoxville, 21 for Jamestown. Big difference, right? 24 for Crossville. Huge difference. In fact, there's a 10-degree difference between Crossville and Morristown as far as highs today. 34 Morristown, White Pine, 24 for Crossville. And if temperatures are in the 30s, it might be where Sevierville gets more of the mix, or Newport gets more of the mix. We'll have to wait and see. There's still a lot yet to be played out. Temperatures-wise, though, this cold air, why would I expect temperatures to go from 2 to 0? Because I had 2 was my Wednesday morning expectation last night. Today, it's closer to 0 because I'm looking upstream. It's now -13 in Des Moines. It's -5 in Indianapolis. There's nothing to keep this cold from trying to move down here. And now that we have a snow cover, many of us, and a growing snow cover, it's going to get it's going to get worse. So I don't expect -15 like Bismarck, but I did do some checking, by the way. I did some checking. The record low for Wednesday, the Wednesday, of course, is Wednesday is the 17th, is -5 from 1982. If we're down to 0, that means we're only within 5 degrees of the record low. It's cold. It's going to be pretty brutal. I think that is certainly something we'll be wanting to watch. And you can keep track of it all using the Captain Accurate Weather app with Pete Michaels Traffic. If you need traffic updates, be sure to tap the app because he's got the updates that you would normally hear on the radio. You could tap on the app and you get the latest traffic report from Pete. But you also get all the National Weather Service alerts. You get 3 extra exclusive Barron alerts, including Twisting Storm Approaching Alert, Barron's exclusive Dangerous Storm Approaching Alert, and storms in your area anytime they occur. But in this case, we're in winter weather mode, so we're not too worried about tornadoes now, but you will like to have it. You also get lightning alerts. But here's my snow forecast. If you're just joining me at 7:05, I'm expecting 4 to 8 inches plus with some mixing of freezing rain and sleet possible. I'm going to emphasize the word sleet because those little icy pellets might suddenly come and rear their ugly head and ruin what was a perfect snow event. Oh, it's got a little sleet in there. Well, it may happen. But I've got 3 to 6 plus, because it could be higher in the Crossville area, south. And it could be well more than 4 inches in parts of, say, La Follette or Wartburg. And it could be well more than 3. But the trend is to put most of the precip for the main event areas further south where the blue areas reside. Headlines: snow today, some mixing possible. Snow and mix linger tonight with some showers. And then we're talking about single-digit temperatures by Wednesday morning. And if you're curious, because I know some of you are curious, is this winter going to be one and done? Because we were like that, right? Last winter, Christmas, 2022 was a 1.6-inch snow, and then really nothing measurable thereafter. Well, I think you've got a lot on the table. Look at this Arctic blast. We just saw how cold it was in Des Moines. Look how this cold air just spins in here. That's 5 o'clock on the 16th, which of course is Tuesday, and then by the time we hit Wednesday morning, we're probably close to 0 because of the cold air and the snowpack that's on the ground. Then we go into 6 o'clock Wednesday. It might modify a bit, but where you see blue is still cold enough for snow. It's just the Arctic blast comes back in this weekend, Friday into Saturday. You're like, oh, make it stop. We're going to kind of lock and reload, maybe a little pullback as we head into the 23rd, 24th. Maybe a little warm spell, but it's a head fake. I think the cold air will wrap back around, and we'll have another charge of cold air coming in time for February and Groundhog Day, which I'm sure he'll see his shadow. He virtually always does. 28 your temperature right now. We have a 3-mile-an-hour wind, and that makes it feel like it's 24. That's cold. And right now there's no wind gust, thankfully. We had enough of that over the last couple of days, but 28 and a 3-mile-an-hour wind. Here's my Valley Planner. Again, not going to get out of the low 20s for Crossville, and low to mid-20s for Crossville and Fentress County, Jamestown. But for Knoxville, I think we have a shot to get to 33 and a little bit warmer towards Newport and Sevierville, where they could be in the mid-30s. But normal high, average high, is 48 this time of year, with an emphasis that mixing could occur later in the day. But look at this, 100% chance. That's pretty confident that we have some precipitation today, 30% tomorrow. Most of that's in the morning. Just want to recap the Storm Prediction Center maps. I'd like to show you this if you're traveling, if you have to travel. Thankfully, the thunder is confined to Florida today, and it's general thunderstorms between Tampa and just north of Miami. No severe weather here today. That's good. And you can see that, Well, generally we're looking at quiet weather on Tuesday as well. Maybe more thunderstorms for South Florida. They may have some general thunderstorms. And I think Wednesday everybody's free from thunder. So it's a quiet weather pattern outside of the cold and the snow and, of course, the mixing. That's no fun for sure. All right, let's get to the other mixing. You can see it showing up in pink in Huntsville. This is the latest observation model data showing this low. It is like a southern slider. It's coming in, sliding in. It's coming in between Atlanta and Chattanooga, the sweet spot for Knoxville to get some snow. How many of you have said in the last, I don't know, 3 months, you know, Knoxville never gets snow. It's always somebody else, right? It's always Crossville. It's always Oneida. But we never get it. It's always the horseshoe effect. That's not always the case. It just depends on the pattern of the storm track. And you got a low that's bringing in snow from the south today. And it gets more intense as we head toward 9 o'clock. And then maybe some mixing. You can see right through the foothills. And I think it has the potential to get all the way up into McGee-Tyson Airport and to Knoxville. To wait and see. But boy, those blues get dark, don't they? They get really dark. They're at 3 o'clock. And then all of a sudden, what was a great snowstorm gets a little more mixing in there. We start getting a tongue of warm air. Doesn't take much. We showed that at the top of this live stream. Just a little wedge of warm air can ruin and change the precipitation type to more of a sleet-snow combination. But either way, all this will be working its way out of here tomorrow morning. Of course, 7 a.m. is when the official winter storm warning is over. But that'll all work its way to a sunny day on Wednesday. It's just brutally cold to start, and we'll finish on Wednesday in the upper 20s, about 27 for a Wednesday high temperature. And then Thursday is more hazy sun and clouds. Now, here's another look at this. I didn't get to show this as well because it was still loading, but this model shows more of the pink mix, especially around Sevierville, possibly into the Greenville area. But the colors are more of an average. Look at this. This is 12 noon, and Sevierville might say, it's all changed over. Bah humbug. Well, that would be not so great for Sevierville if you're a snow lover, but that's on the table. I can't emphasize that enough. But if it sticks around long enough, you might say northern Blount County, northern Sevier County gets all snow. But southern Blount, southern Sevier County is more of a mix. And I think anyone is fair game for a mix, even in the Knoxville area later this afternoon. It may linger, maybe between 6 and 10 o'clock. Because look at this. I see some pink up toward Crossville, some pink around Greenville. 8 o'clock tonight, there's some pink all over the map, right? Kingston, Loudoun County, that's 10 o'clock. So that may also cut down on some of the totals a wee bit. But still, all told, I still think it's mainly a snow event with the mixing possible going into today and tonight. As far as tonight's concerned, we're down to about 9 at 7 a.m. in Jamestown. And temperatures here should be around 17 or 16 from Knoxville to Oak Ridge. It gets pretty cold tonight, but even more so as we head into Wednesday morning. That's just the way things are shaping up. By the way, it's 7-11. Gone a little long, but because I had a lot of information from winter emergency kits to driving tips, hopefully it'll help. There's the 0. Oh, that's cold. About -3 in Wartburg. Oh, that wouldn't be good. That's 6 o'clock, by the way. Wednesday morning. 0 Maryville, and about -2 in Kingston. Who's ready for that kind of cold? Not me. I like it just, keep it in the 20s and teens. I'm okay with that. By the way, I see Renee send me some stars. Thank you so much, Renee. You're very kind. Judy says, so the 4 to 8 inches for Sevierville then. We'll wait and see. I mean, you might be on the lower end of the 4, while Seymour might be closer to the 8. It can divide the county. Everybody's different. It's like the candy in the Cracker Jack box at the ballpark. You don't know what the prize is inside until you open it up, right? And so that's what I expect. Everybody's going to have a prize today. It's not going to be sunny and 70, but we're going to get 4 to 8 inches of snow on average across much of the area. That's why there's the range. 2 inches in Sequoia there in Andersonville. Thank you, Ann Hatmaker Hill. And William Lewis says, good morning from Birmingham. The only thing we're going to get here is ice. Sad to hear about that. That's no fun. No fun, in fact. Judy says, thank you. Back on YouTube, if there's any new comments, I'd like to share them with you. Yeah, you could give me a shout out on YouTube, and I'll shout back out. It'd be fun. And if you're on YouTube, that may be another preference. Some of us like to watch it on the phone. Some of us like to watch it maybe on the bigger screen via a Fire Stick or what have you. So many different technological advantages to being on 2 platforms at once. Temperatures by Wednesday morning will be at the lowest point of the week. That's my expectation. Now, Martin Luther King Day. Today is a holiday. We're up to 33. Snow with some mixing. I wish I could take the mixing out, but it's not cut and dry. 21 for a high in Oneida. That's cold. 33, though, for Oak Ridge. And again, just to recap, I'm expecting mid to upper 30s from between Sevierville and Newport today that could enable some of this mixing to take place. Because again, the warming is really at the mid-levels, not necessarily at the surface, because you still think 30s is still cold. 20 for a high in Nashville if you're traveling today on the holiday. 17 in Memphis. 14 degrees for a high in Paducah. Ouch, that's cold. Tonight we're down to 17. Snow and mixed showers will linger. It'll be colder, and the wind's still about 3 to 8 miles per hour. So tonight, just a visual here, 12 in Middlesboro, 10 in Wartburg, 9 in Crossville. That's where I expect to be for overnight lows tonight. 16 in Tellico Plains. Before I get too far down the road, I will look at power outages, see how that looks. But as far as our Captain Accurate Weather Authority forecast for Knoxville and East Tennessee, you got 28 Tuesday, 27 on Wednesday. It's a sun-filled day, but I think with school, I don't know too many superintendents who are going to want their kids out standing at a bus stop at 0. So let's assume there's no school today. Yeah, we know that. Probably no school tomorrow. And with a 0 start, there might be a delay, or they just say, hey, let's cancel Wednesday. But then we lock and reload. We got another storm system coming in late Thursday and into Friday. There could be a combination of rain or snow, depending on the model that you like to look at today. I'll take a closer look at that once we get through this event. I'll take another look at the 7-day this afternoon. But by the way, look at those 7s. That's on Saturday and Sunday morning. Very cold, if not frigid. We've got some really, your heating bill, like mine, will go up, no doubt, just simply because of usage. But a frigid, sun-filled weekend ahead with a high of only 23 expected on Saturday. If you're on the call, I just want to say good morning to you. Thank you for sticking with me on this special Monday snow sleet edition of live stream. Normally I don't do them on Mondays, but I will be doing another one later today, probably around midday when the peak of this event, because that's what I want. That's the fun part for me. I will be fascinated to see all your snow pictures. We'll just pop up on the screen behind me. If you want to do that, we'll have fun. Kathy sending me some stars. You're very sweet. Thank you, Kathy Nance. Very kind. Judy saying thank you. If there's anyone on YouTube, let me know. Oh, Steve Stone. Got to give Steve a shout out. Steve's got the smiley face. He's on YouTube. Glad to have you here, Steve. And back on Facebook if you have some comments. But again, just to recap, there's the forecast of where we are headed. 33 today with some mixing on the board. Now, let me go back, if I can. Bear with me because I want to see if I can put on here the power outages. Let's see if I can go back here. Let's switch over to our power outage map. Now, this is the radar picture, granted, but we can go over to currents and check out the power outages on the map. See if there's any to note here. I don't see too many on this map. Where we have some power outages right now are more scattered up toward Kentucky, West Virginia. So this is something we'll monitor, no doubt. But as of 6:45, 7 o'clock, this is kind of like on a loop here. We can go back to the current time. About 7:15 is when this last updated. There are some power outages maybe out west near Jackson, Tennessee, but things look A-OK at the moment. As far as the radar is concerned, again, what we're seeing maybe out west, let's go over to the Nashville site. You can see where that snow is getting more active right now around south of Columbia, over towards Soddy Daisy, at least from what we can see. Keep in mind the reflectivity of snowflakes pretty small when you're talking about flurries. I do know it's snowing in the Knoxville area, maybe lightly, but the reinforcements are coming in where you see some darker blues back to the south and west. I'm talking about right in here. We'll grab the telestrator. So this area right in here around Memphis and right into, say, Florence, Huntsville, this is the start of the fire hose, right? Because it's all coming in this direction. It's headed toward Knoxville, and I think it'll really start cranking up here as we head toward 9 o'clock this morning, and it'll be filling in. But we also have to be mindful of the mixing, and we're not always going to see it by the reflectivity or these mosaic pictures. So where you see pink in south of Tupelo, this also could play a role as it slides in the same direction. So we want to watch that heading into the latter part of the day. And we can revisit that at the midday live stream when we head toward that time frame. But that's just pretty much it in a nutshell. Very thankful for you. Of course, if you haven't checked us out on the Captain Accurate Premium side, I hope you'll join us. It's just $4.99 a month. And if you want to try it for a month during a very active winter season, it would be great to have you because you'll get extra information and you'll be in the know not only for this event but for the future events that still are yet to come. So I did modify the expectation. Some of you will be sub-zero on Wednesday morning. That's a real concern, and I know many of you will want to know what to expect thereafter. But you're the first to see my snow forecast if you go to CaptainAccurate.com or simply hit the subscribe button on the Facebook page. It's at the top. It's like getting two streams of information on the same Facebook page. And for those of you who've been on there before, I've had some people with me for more than a year, so we must be doing something right. They're getting information that they hope and get, whether it be storms in the summertime, hurricanes, or even snowstorms. We have pretty much, hopefully, everything that you want in the weather. I think it's the best bargain in East Tennessee as far as, I mean, it's $4.99 a month. Let's see, that works out to 16 stars a day, or 16 cents a day. It's the best bargain in East Tennessee if you're in need. Because a lot of people say, I need to know when it starts, or I need to know when it stops. And you're the first to know that as soon as I post it in the premium, on the premium side. Anyway, my name is David Aldrich. Thank you for being here. Please stay safe and just enjoy the view, because that's what's going to be interesting, to watch all the snow pick back up later today. We'll see you here next time. Take care.